Everyone mocked the tiny alien girl, until a human driver discovered what she could really do. Shuttles roared. People pushed through crowded platforms. In the middle of the rush stood Nira, a small cerulean woman with pale blue skin and dark eyes, clutching her bag. A tall draconian merchant slammed into her. His scaled shoulder almost knocked her over. "Move, little one," he snapped. "Children's shuttle is on the lower level." Heat rushed to Nira's cheeks. She straightened her black research jacket and pulled her navy cap down over her silver blue hair. "I'm 26, she whispered, but her words vanished in the noise. Her wristband flashed red. Late, final warning. If she was late again, the Xenobiology Institute could fire her. Nira rose on her toes, trying to see over the crowd. Somewhere ahead, her bus should be arriving. Then she saw it. A silver transport slid along the rail toward her platform, doors already starting to close. The people between her and the docking line looked like a wall. Panic punched the air from her lungs. She pushed forward, weaving between legs and bags. "Wait," she shouted. "Please stop." The word stop left her mouth like something alive. For a heartbeat, the air around her trembled. Lights flickered. The transport shuddered, engines cutting out mid-hum. It froze on the rail, half-docked, like an invisible hand had grabbed it. People stumbled. Nira stopped too, staring at the bus. Did she do that? The doors hissed open, and the driver stepped out. He was human, tall in a dark blue driver's uniform, sandy hair, rough jaw, hazel eyes that searched the platform, then locked onto her. "Did you do that?" he asked. Nira blinked. "Do what?" "The bus," he said quietly, stepping closer. "Engines died the second you yelled. That doesn't happen by itself." He offered his hand. "Name's Cole." "Nira," she answered, her small fingers vanishing in his grip. "You'd better get on," Cole said, nodding to the open doors. His voice dropped. "We should talk later. This isn't normal, and some people will be very interested." Cold ran down her spine. Inside the bus, Nira took a seat near the middle. She could feel eyes on her. A Vesperan in a gray coat kept glancing her way while speaking softly into a wrist calm. His many-faceted eyes never left her. At her stop, Nira rose to leave. "Miss Nira," Cole called. "You forgot to ping your pass." She frowned. "I'm sure I already did." "Come here a second," he said. She stepped to the front. Cole took her hand again and folded a small strip of paper into her palm, hiding it from the other passengers. "My shift ends at 1800, he murmured. "Orbital Cafe, upper ring. If you want answers." His voice dropped to barely a breath. "And be careful today." Nira stepped off the bus on unsteady legs. When the doors closed and the transport pulled away, she opened her hand. On the paper, in quick, rough writing, were 3 lines. "They are watching you now. What you did should be impossible. Trust no one." All afternoon, Nira could not think of her work. When she tried to log into her terminal, her access showed "under review," and security officers walked past her station again and again. On her break, she stood at the high window and looked down at the city. Somewhere out there, a human bus driver had told her to trust no one. Now she believed it. A tight ache grew behind her eyes. Nira told her supervisor she needed to go home. On the street outside the institute, the world felt different. Sharper. Dangerous. Across the road, she noticed 2 people in plain travel clothes, standing too still. Vesperan eyes again, both sets fixed straight on her. Her heart kicked hard. Nira pulled her cap lower, slipped into a group of Centurion tourists, and let their wide bodies hide her as they walked toward the transit line. Orbital Cafe. Upper ring. 1800. If it was a trap, she was already caught. If it was not, it might be the only chance to learn what she had become. Nira reached the Orbital Cafe long before 1800 hours, but she didn't go inside. She hid across the plaza, pretending to check store windows while watching everyone who walked near the entrance. Agents moved through the crowd like wolves in nice clothes. A shaved-headed Centurion holding a comband. A thin Vesperan pretending to read a menu but staring at the cafe door. 2 armored enforcers pretending to be off-duty. They were not fooling anyone. Definitely not her. Nira's pulse hammered. She ducked into a clothing shop when one agent turned her way. Inside, a bored feline clerk barely looked up. "You browsing or buying?" The woman yawned. "I need the back exit," Nira whispered. "I can pay extra." The clerk's ears twitched at the word pay. "Fitting rooms," she said. "Last door." Minutes later, Nira slipped out into a narrow service alley behind the shop. She hurried around the block and approached the cafe from the opposite side. Through the cafe's transparent dome, she saw him. Cole, sitting alone at a corner table, a steaming mug between his hands, eyes scanning the door with quiet caution. He looked exactly like a bus driver, and at the same time, nothing like one. His back straight, his gaze sharp, his posture ready. When she finally slipped inside and slid into the seat across from him, he exhaled in relief. I thought you wouldn't come, he said. I almost didn't, Nira admitted. There are agents everywhere. Cole nodded. That's why we're meeting here. Public, noisy, crowded. Easier to hide two faces. He leaned a little closer, voice low. What you did at the station wasn't normal, Nira. She hugged her arms around herself. I didn't do anything. You killed a bus engine with your voice. I didn't mean to, she whispered. I was just scared. Cole's eyes softened, but his next words were serious. The Accord has been hunting for something like that for years. A rare ability, a myth, actually. Humans called it the command lattice back in ancient files. Nira stared. I don't have abilities. I'm cerulean. We follow rules. We do lab work. We don't break machines with words. That's why they're interested, Cole said. Because you're not supposed to exist. Then he reached out and took her hand, not as a trick, not as a distraction, but gently, like grounding her. Nira felt her breath hitch. You're not safe, he said. Not today. Why help me, she asked. We barely know each other. Cole held her gaze without looking away. Because I've seen what the Accord does to people who become useful to them, he said. And because humans have a weakness. A weakness. We protect the underdog. A ghost of a smile touched his lips, especially when everyone else ignores them. Nira blinked, unsure how to respond. No one had ever said something like that to her. Usually she heard. Too small. Too quiet. Are you lost, little one? Before she could speak, Cole's expression changed. He didn't move his head, didn't look around. But Nira felt it. Something had shifted in the room. Don't turn, Cole murmured. 2 Accord field agents just entered. Her stomach dropped. What do we do? She whispered. Act natural, he said calmly. Pretend we're on a date. A date, she hissed. Smile. Cole whispered, squeezing her hand gently. Laugh like I said something nice. She forced a small laugh, which came out too high. But Cole winked, and suddenly it felt almost real. When I squeeze your hand, he murmured, go to the restrooms. There's a service door leading to the kitchens. I'll distract them. Distract them how? He smiled in a way that made her trust him more than she should. I'm very good at making noise. A moment later, his hand tightened around hers. Nira stood, acting casual, walking toward the back. As soon as she turned the corner, crash! Shouts erupted behind her. Someone yelled in a harsh alien language. A tray smashed. Cole's distraction. Nira ran. Down the hallway, past the kitchen door. Cole appeared moments later, breathless but grinning. Time to leave, he said. Follow me. They burst through the kitchens, into the back alleys, and into the fading evening light. Only then did Nira realize something. He didn't let go of her hand. And for the first time all day, she didn't want him to. Cole didn't slow down until they reached the outer edge of Meridian Spire. The tall towers were behind them now, replaced by the dark line of the Emerald Verge, the largest forest on the planet, glowing faint green under the evening light. Nira stopped at the tree line, staring. I've never been outside the city, she whispered. Cole glanced back. You're about to get a crash course. The unmarked pod he had taken sputtered, flickered, then died with a smoking cough. Tracking pulse, Cole muttered. They fried the navigation. We go on foot. Nira swallowed. The verge looked less like a forest and more like the open mouth of a giant creature. The trees were tall, their roots thick, glowing mushrooms lighting the shadows. You okay? Cole asked gently. Nira nodded, even though her stomach said no. He took her hand without asking this time. We moved together, he said. The forest swallowed them whole. Bioluminescent vines hung from the branches. Strange insect calls echoed through the air. The ground felt soft under Nira's shoes, and every shadow moved like it had a heartbeat. She tripped on a root, falling forward. Cole caught her easily, his arms steady around her waist. Careful, he murmured, smiling slightly. The forest isn't as polite as a city sidewalk. She managed a shaky laugh. My people like walls. We don't do wild places. Most humans forget how, Cole admitted. But my father taught me the old way. Campfires, tracking, the works. That made her smile. Cole didn't look like he belonged behind a transport wheel. He looked like he belonged anywhere except there. They walked for a long time, deeper into glowing paths. Every now and then, Nira caught the faint buzz of drones moving in the sky, searching. Are they close? She whispered. Cole listened for a moment. Closer than I'd like. But moving away for now. Nira's legs finally weakened, and Cole guided her toward a hollow beneath a fallen tree. Soft moss glowed around them like tiny stars. We'll rest here, he said. The glow hides our heat. Nira sank down, exhausted. Cole sat beside her, close enough that she could feel his warmth even in the cool forest air. For a minute, neither spoke. It felt strangely peaceful, despite everything. Cole, Nira whispered, why can I do these things? Why did the bus stop? Cole looked at the glowing moss before answering. There's an old human legend, he said quietly, about voices that could speak to energy. Machines, even living fields. We called it the lattice. Humans had that. A long time ago, before anyone wrote history the right way. Nira hugged her knees. But I'm cerulean. We don't have powers. We have schedules. Maybe the universe didn't agree with your biology textbook, Cole said with a faint grin. Before she could answer, a sound cut through the forest. A mechanical hum followed by a sharp, flickering light. A drone. Moving low. Scanning. Searching. Cole grabbed Nira's arm gently. Stay still. The drone hovered between the trees like a floating eye, red lights sweeping. Nira felt panic rising again, but something else too. A familiar vibration in her chest. Like the moment at the station, but stronger now. The drone turned toward them. It's going to see us, Nira breathed. No sudden movements, Cole whispered. But Nira wasn't thinking about moving. She focused on the drone, on its humming rhythm, its glowing sensors. And without understanding how, she whispered, turn away. The drone paused midair. Its lights flickered. Then, it rotated smoothly and flew in the opposite direction. Cole stared at her. What did you just do? Nira looked down at her hands, trembling. I don't know. Then a second drone appeared farther off. Its sensor beam cut across distant trunks. Nira felt that same vibration again, like a door inside her was opening wider. She focused on the drone, on its data signal, its vision, its presence. Show me, she whispered. A holographic image blinked into existence in front of them. A live aerial view from the drone's camera. Search teams. Patrol routes. Light grids. Cole's jaw dropped. You're not just speaking to them, he said. You're inside them. Nira's heart pounded, but something new stirred inside her. A kind of power she had never felt. I can see where they're going, she whispered. How they move. Cole rested a hand on her shoulder. Then we use that to stay alive. A distant howl tore through the forest. Deep. Rough. Hunting. Cole's expression hardened. That wasn't a drone, he said. That was a Rakan. A what? Nira whispered. A tracker, Cole said. Part beast, part machine. They don't stop. Nira's breath caught. Her new power suddenly felt very small. Very fragile. But Cole stood, pulling her gently to her feet. We move, he said. And Nira. She looked up. You're stronger than you think. They vanished deeper into the glowing trees as another howl echoed behind them, closer this time. Night settled over the emerald verge like a heavy blanket. The glowing moss dimmed, the insects quieted, and the distant howls of Rakan trackers came closer, echoing through the trees like hungry thunder. Cole and Nira moved fast, the forest crunching under their steps. Every sound made Nira jump. Snapping branches, shifting leaves, the buzz of a far-off drone. Her legs ached, but fear kept her going. We're getting close to the border of the verge, Cole said softly. There should be old research buildings out here. Some were abandoned decades ago. Why would anyone build out here? Nira whispered. Because secrets hide better in places people avoid. Ahead, something metal gleamed between thick roots. A half-buried structure sat crooked against a hill, swallowed by vines and fungus. Tall gates, rusted locks, dusty windows. An old outpost. Cole stopped. We rest here. If it still has power, we may even learn something. How do we get inside? Nira asked. Cole stepped forward, pulling out a small device. I can try to bypass. But before he could do anything, Nira placed her hand on the locked door. Open, she whispered. The response was instant. Metal groaned. Old circuits hummed awake. The heavy door hissed and slid open, releasing a cloud of dust. Cole stared at her, stunned. Okay. Add door opener to your list of surprises. She blushed. I didn't try. It just listened. Inside, pale emergency lights flickered to life as they walked through dusty halls filled with old consoles, broken chairs, and yellowed screens. Everything looked untouched for years. This place is human-designed, Cole said, brushing dirt off a control panel. Early Accord era, before Ceruleans joined the Science Council. Nira wandered deeper, feeling something strange pulsing under her skin. The building reacted to her. Lights flickered when she stepped near. Screens woke up when she passed. She reached the central room, a wide lab with a cracked hologram table, shattered glass tubes, and a large neural interface chair in the center. Cole joined her. This looks like psych field research, but humans haven't done that in centuries. Nira touched the interface. It sparked, and a dusty terminal flickered to life, showing old files. Project Helios, Level 9 clearance only. Cole leaned closer. That name, it's from the old human archives. A project studying electrosensitivity. Electro what? Nira asked. Long ago, Cole said quietly. Some humans could feel energy, like electricity, signals, fields. Most people thought it was a myth. But why would Ceruleans be involved? Nira whispered. Nira opened the first file. Holographic documents floated above the console. Gene maps. Neural diagrams. Old reports. Lines of text made her chest tighten. Subject compatibility experiments. Humans plus cerulean neural tissue samples. Goal. Create a stable lattice carrier. Her breath caught. Cerulean neural tissue. Why mine? Cole scanned the data and froze. Nira, look at this. A personnel list appeared. Names of researchers. Dates. Then Nira's eyes landed on a name she knew by heart. Dr. Saria Lethen, neuroassistant, Project Helios. 27 years ago. Nira's mother. Her hands trembled. My mother worked here? Cole placed a steady hand on her back. Your mother was part of this? Nira, that means the project might have continued through natural births. I wasn't born in a lab, she whispered. No, Cole said. You were born carrying what they tried and failed to create. Naturally. Nira backed away from the console, heart racing. All her life, she felt invisible. Average. Small. Yet this old room told her she was something else entirely. The building suddenly trembled. A massive thump shook dust from the ceiling. Cole snapped to alert. That wasn't the wind. Nira pulled up a cracked security feed. One camera still worked. Its grainy view showed armored figures moving through the trees. Rack trackers. More than a dozen of them. Their red visors glowed like burning coals in the dark. Cole cursed under his breath. They found us. Another thump. Closer. The hunters were surrounding the outpost. Nira's voice shook. We're trapped. Cole steadied her shoulders. Listen to me. Your power isn't random. It's your birthright. And it's how we survive this night. She swallowed hard. What do we do? Cole met her eyes with a calm she didn't feel. We fight smart. Together. Outside, the forest exploded with another roar. The hunters were here. The outpost walls shook again, this time harder. Dust rained from the ceiling. Nira's heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear the low mechanical growls outside. Cole moved fast, pulling her away from the central lab room and toward the old observation chamber. Stay behind me. Rack and trackers hunt in packs. They're clever, fast, and they don't lose trails. Nira swallowed. How long before they break in? Cole looked at the trembling door. Not long enough. The lights flickered as another heavy impact hit the metal frame. The glow from the forest outside cast eerie shadows across the cracked floor. A shadow passed the window, tall, bent, too many joints to be natural. Nira shivered. Cole, I can feel them. He froze. You feel them? How? It's like a pressure in the air. They're implants, they're nerves, something is buzzing. My head hurts, but I can feel where they are. Cole's eyes widened. That's new. And useful. Nira clutched her chest. But it's too strong. It's like they're pushing back. Cole didn't get a chance to reply. With a violent screech, the outer gate tore off its hinges. It flew across the clearing, crashing into the trees. A creature stepped inside the fence, a Rakan scout with gleaming claws and glowing red cyber eyes. It sniffed the air. It knows we're here, Nira whispered. Cole grabbed her wrist, and pulled her down behind an overturned table. "We need a plan." "What kind of plan?" Nero whispered, voice shaking. "One that keeps you alive." Footsteps echoed through the outpost hall. Heavy, controlled, too steady to be fully biological. More Rackens joined the first. Their low growls vibrated through the walls. Nero pressed her eyes shut and reached for that strange inner sense again. She pushed through the fear and the buzzing in her skull. And suddenly she felt them. Not just their presence, but their systems. Red-hot circuits, neural implants, electro signals moving through their bodies like lightning trapped in veins. "I can touch them," she whispered. Cole looked at her, startled. "Touch who?" "The Rackens. Their implants. Their energy." Before Cole could stop her, she whispered into the air. "Stop." The nearest Racken paused mid-step. Its body jerked as if caught in invisible wires. Its claws scraped the ground, unable to move. Cole stared. "Nira." But the second Racken lunged from the left. Cole rolled out of the way, pulling her with him just as metal claws slashed the floor where she had been. He fired 2 pulse shots. One hit the Racken's chest armor, the other grazed its face. It staggered but didn't fall. "Too fast," Cole muttered. "Too armored." Nira felt dread rise again, but underneath it, something fiercer glowed. Courage. Anger. A spark of instinct. She stretched out her hand, focusing on the Racken's implant. She could feel the electrical pulses racing through its nervous system. "Sleep," she whispered. The creature dropped instantly, its limbs twitching once before going still. Cole turned toward her with astonishment and pride mixed in his eyes. "Remind me never to annoy you." Nira almost smiled, until a new sound cut through the forest. A slow, heavy thud, metal scraping on roots. A deep mechanical inhale. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Cole stiffened. That's not a normal tracker. He raced to the cracked window. When Nira joined him, she felt a cold wave of fear roll over her. A massive figure stepped out of the treeline, taller than any Racken, half draconian, half machine, armor fused with living muscle. One arm entirely replaced by a thick cannon-like weapon, eyes glowing molten orange. "What is that?" Nira breathed. Cole's voice was low. "Serious. He's called a Dominion Warden. Only the Accord Council commands him. And he's here for me," Nira whispered. "He's here to take you apart," Cole corrected quietly. "Alive or dead." The Warden lifted his head, red scanners sweeping the outpost. Cole grabbed Nira's shoulders. "Listen to me. If he gets inside, you run. Don't argue." "I'm not leaving you," she insisted. "You will," Cole said, eyes fierce. "Because your gift is bigger than this place. And he knows that." The Warden roared, an awful, metallic sound, and charged toward the outpost entrance with earth-shaking steps. Nira felt the impact in her bones. Cole pulled her toward the back of the room. "There's an old generator in the basement. If I can overload it, we might stun him long enough to escape." Nira grabbed his arm. "No. Let me try something." Cole froze. "Nira," he shielded. "You can't control him." "I don't need to control him," she whispered. "Maybe I can confuse him." The Warden slammed against the outer door. Metal cracked. Bolts snapped. Nira closed her eyes, reached deeper than ever, into the network of circuits inside the giant machine creature, searching for a weak thread, a sensitive point, any small space where his system wasn't fully locked. She found nothing. Then, a tiny flicker, a small vibrating pulse near his spine. A biological nerve, not mechanical. She grabbed it with her mind and twisted. Not to hurt him, but to blind him. The Warden staggered mid-charge. His glowing eyes flickered. He roared in confusion. Cole looked at her in shock. "You did that?" Nira nodded weakly. "I can't hold it long." The Warden roared again and slammed into the outpost door with full force. The metal buckled inward. Cole raised his weapon. Nira mustered her strength. The door cracked open. The Warden stepped through. Towering, glowing, unstoppable. And Nira faced him with nothing but a trembling voice and a power she barely understood. The Warden stepped inside the outpost, filling the entrance like a living wall of steel and scales. His molten orange eyes scanned the room. Sparks scattered from the cracked door behind him. Nira felt tiny, small enough to disappear in one of his footsteps. But at the same time, something deeper stirred inside her. A tremor that wasn't fear. A rising pressure inside her chest, hot and electric. Cole moved in front of her, pulse pistol raised. "Nira, run. You're not ready for this one." I'm not leaving you, she whispered, her voice trembling but stubborn. The warden's gaze locked onto her. Identify, Subject Nira. His voice rumbled like a broken engine. Without warning, the warden raised his cannon arm. Cole shoved Nira to the ground just as a blast ripped through the room, burning a molten path across the floor. The explosion shook the entire outpost. Dust rained from the ceiling. Lights flickered and died. The air turned hot and sharp with smoke. Cole dragged her behind a piece of fallen metal. You okay? Nira nodded, coughing. He's stronger than I thought. He's stronger than anything, Cole replied. But he's slow. If we can keep him off balance. A metallic claw punched through the wall beside them, inches from Cole's head. The warden pulled it back, tearing a huge section of the wall with it. Cole cursed under his breath. He's tracking our exact positions. His sensors are too advanced. Nira squeezed her eyes shut, reaching toward the warden with her mind. For a moment she felt nothing, just a burning shield, an armored wall, too thick to pass. He's shielded, she whispered. I can't reach his mechanical parts. Then find another way. Cole shouted. The warden fired again. Concrete split open. Nira felt the energy blast ripple past her skin like heat lightning. She forced herself to breathe. Slow. Deep. She reached again. Not at the metal. Not at the circuits. But at the tiny flicker she sensed earlier. A thread of biological life buried beneath the armor. Something the Accord probably thought didn't matter. She grabbed it. Hard. A pulse of energy burst inside her mind, lighting up the room. The warden froze. His cannon arm jerked. His eyes flickered between orange and dark red. Cole looked at her in shock. You're inside him? Not fully, Nira gasped. But I can confuse him. She pushed harder. Stop. The warden shuddered. His body twitched violently. The cannon sparked, misfiring into the ceiling. For the first time, he staggered back. Cole seized the moment. He rushed forward and fired 3 shots into the warden's armor. 2 bounced off, but one hit a weak seam in the shoulder joint. The giant howled, stumbling. Nira grabbed the metal table beside her and shoved it upright. Cole moved. He dove aside as the warden lunged. The table smashed into the warden's legs, slowing him down for one precious second. Nira stood up, shaking but furious. No more running, she whispered. Not tonight. The warden roared, twisting, his broken shoulder sparking. He turned toward her again, ready to crush her. Nira took a deep breath. Every nerve in her body felt like fire. Every thought felt like lightning crackling behind her eyes. She stepped forward. Her voice came out small, but sharp. A whisper that sliced like a blade. Kneel. The air trembled. Lights flickered. The floor vibrated beneath her feet. The warden froze. His knees buckled. Slowly, impossibly, the massive creature dropped to the ground. Metal screeched. Sparks flew. He landed hard enough to crack the floor tiles. Cole stared at Nira, half awed, half terrified. What was that? I don't know, Nira whispered. But something inside me is changing. The warden fought against her, claws gouging deep marks into the ground, but he couldn't rise. Not under her voice. Not under that invisible force she still didn't understand. Nira's legs shook. Her head throbbed. Holding him down drained her like nothing ever had. Cole rushed to her side, steadying her before she fell. Don't push too far. You'll burn yourself out. But Nira knew something else. The warden wasn't alone. She could feel more energy signatures approaching. Multiple heat spikes. More soldiers. More hunters. More danger. Her voice trembled as she whispered to Cole. They're bringing reinforcements. Cole tightened his grip on her arm. Then we need a new plan. Something bold. Something crazy. Nira looked at the neural interface, chair glowing faintly behind them. Lights slowly waking as if aware of her presence. She swallowed hard. I think I know what we have to do next. Cole followed her gaze. And his face changed. Fear. Shock. Understanding. Nira, absolutely not. That thing could fry your brain. But Nira stepped toward it anyway. Then we don't have time to be careful. Outside, the forest filled with the sound of approaching machines. Inside, the fallen warden struggled against her fading command. And Nira prepared to sit in the one place that could either save the city or destroy her from the inside out. The neural interface chair hummed with a low, eerie vibration, as if the machine was slowly waking up after years of silence. Dust floated in the air. Loose wires flickered with faint blue light. Nira stood in front of it, heart racing, palms sweaty. She felt the machine watching her, like it remembered her mother, like it had been waiting for her return. Behind her, Cole argued in a frantic whisper. Nira, please. That thing is older than half this forest. It could cook your brain like an overcharged capacitor. She turned to him. Her voice was soft, but sure. Cole, the Accord won't stop. More soldiers are already here. We can't run forever. We need something bigger than escape. He grabbed her hands, holding them tight. Then let me do it. You can't, she said sadly. You don't have the lattice. I do. For a moment, the room went silent except for the distant roars outside. Cole's expression hardened, not angry, but scared in a way she had never seen. Nira, I can't lose you. She rose on her toes and kissed him softly, briefly. You won't. Not today. Then she slid into the chair. Cold metal touched her temples. The system recognized her instantly. Lights flickered, screens surged to life. Wires glowed with a pulse that matched her own heartbeat. Lattice carrier detected. Neural link initiating. Nira inhaled sharply as the machine opened her mind like a door. It didn't hurt, not at first. It felt like diving deep into warm water. She could hear Cole shouting orders behind her. Krug, block the side entrance. Mav, cover the broken wall. Talia, help Ilya with the wounded. Pim, get those transmitters ready. Outside, the Accord army surrounded the outpost. Drones buzzed overhead. Rakan hunters growled. A transport ship hovered, firing warning shots into the trees. But Nira saw all of it. Not with her eyes, but through the electrical grid. Every machine was suddenly a line in a web. Every drone a spark. Every signal a glowing thread. She reached out with her mind. Not just to the outpost. Not just to the forest. But to the entire city of Meridian Spire. A flood of connections hit her at once. Security cameras. Public screens. Transit systems. Private channels. Encrypted Accord files. She felt it all. Every circuit. Every code. Every voice. Cole shouted something. Nira, your vitals are spiking. Slow down. But she couldn't slow down. Not now. Not when she finally understood what needed to be done. She pushed deeper into the Accord servers. Found hidden folders. Buried programs. Secret documents marked with red warnings. Genetic Harvest Unit. Command Army Blueprint. Eliminate original carrier. Nira didn't whisper this time. She spoke with her whole mind. Broadcast everything. At her command, every screen in Meridian Spire flickered. Shops. Streets. Homes. Government halls. Orbit platforms. Even the helmets of Accord soldiers turned blue. A single message appeared. The truth you were not meant to see. Then the files played. Evidence of the Command Army project. Genetic records. Orders to capture and dissect her. Plans to target human colonies next. Anger spread across the city like wildfire. Crowds gathered in the streets. Officers froze. Some dropped their weapons. Others turned on their commanders. Inside the outpost, the Accord army hesitated. Confused chatter filled their comms. Even the fallen Dominion warden lifted his head, mechanical systems glitching. Cole's voice cut through the chaos. Nira, the city is rising. They're turning on the council. Nira felt the neural interface heat up. Sparks danced across her skin. Her mind trembled under the pressure. Too much. Too fast. Too loud. The machine was overloading. Her vision blurred. Her thoughts began to scatter. Pull her out. Ilya shouted. Cole rushed to the chair. System disconnect, he yelled. Now. But the machine didn't listen. It clung to Nira's mind like a storm pulling at her soul. Then, a single voice anchored her. Cole's. Soft. Fierce. Unshakable. Nira, come back to me. She let go. The world snapped. Sparks flew. Lights burst. The entire console exploded in a shower of blue fire. Cole tore the connectors from her temples and caught her as she collapsed forward. Her breathing was weak. Her skin was pale. Nira, please, he whispered, voice breaking. Stay with me. Slowly, her eyes fluttered open. Did it work? She breathed. Pim checked the transmitter. It worked. The council is being arrested. Citizens are demanding a new government. The Accord has fallen. Outside, soldiers dropped their weapons. Drones shut down midair and fell like dying fireflies. The warden knelt silently, his systems completely pacified. Cole held Nira against his chest, relief shaking through him. You did it. No, she whispered weakly. We did it. 3 days later, Nira stood on the balcony of the human embassy, watching the sun rise over a changed city. People below cheered her name. New banners of unity hung across the towers. Cole stepped beside her, wrapping an arm around her. So, Director of Interspecies Tech Harmony, how does it feel? Weird, she said with a small smile. Yesterday people ignored me. Today they want me to redesign half the Accord. Cole grinned. That's what happens when you shout down an empire. Nira leaned into him. And you? Back to being a simple bus driver. Sadly, no, Cole said with a smirk. They want me as head of security. To protect someone important. Who? She asked softly. He lifted her chin gently. You. As the city lights glowed and a new world began to grow, Nira realized something she never understood before. Strength wasn't size. Strength wasn't who shouted loudest. Strength was choosing to stand, even when everyone overlooked you. And she had done exactly that. In her small hands, she carried a future built on truth. And beside her stood a human who had seen her strength from the moment she whispered her first impossible command.